My name is Trenyce. I'm a professional singer and the owner of Glam Entertainment.
Looks fantastic tonight from the movie The Bodyguard. Make way, Whitney, with I Have Nothing. Here is Trenyce.
I was 2 years old, according to my parents, when they first started realizing that I could sing jingles off the radio. Like, I would know every melody, every single lyric. You know, it wasn't like 2 years old, and you know how some 2-year-olds, they kind of just hum or like fiddle through the words or whatever. My mom was like, you were very precise at 2. You may not have been able to talk or know exactly what those words were, but they were very clear, and she was adamant about that. I had the passion and the drive to be an artist at such a young age when I didn't even know what I was doing. And my mom would come knock on my door and be like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I made a new song, let me perform it for you. So, you know, from there it goes from performing it for your parents to performing it from your parents' friends, and, you know, so you have an audience all the time. My father was very clever at getting his daughters to clean up on the weekends, okay? And this is how he did it. Basically, we had an extra room in our house that didn't have anything in it except for the Christmas tree, right? It had the most amazing acoustics, hardwood floors, double doors. Like, that room, once you turned on a record, it was like you were in a concert, right? We called it the music room, and my father would hand us a broom, a dustpan, a mop, and be like, okay, let's pretend, you know, that we're all in a group. We're gonna sing with this dustpan, mop, broom, you know, and it was full out. We had so much fun, and I couldn't wait for the weekends. And that was what he programmed in our mind, that it wasn't just about the cleaning, that music came on the weekends, you know. My father sounds like Stevie Wonder, let me just say. It's crazy how much my dad sounds like Stevie Wonder. And so, to me, he was the epitome of the perfect artist. It started to be just a thing for me and my dad. And we started out singing the Staples singer song, if you disrespect everybody that you run into. So he would sing all of the male parts, and I would be Mavis Staples. Child! We would have so much fun. And again, it was one of those moments where, oh my gosh, I just wish we could have recorded a lot more of it, because it was beautiful, you know. And my mom, she would just come by and look through the little, you know, the doors, and she was like, it would just make my heart warm to see the connection that you and your dad had. Because I would either sit on his lap, or, you know, my little microphone stand and all of this stuff that was lighting up as he was performing. It was full out. And that's like my best memory of my dad, is the time we would spend on the weekends with the record players and all of that. Eventually, he bought me my own record player, just a little mini one. It was red, and my very first 2 records was Janet Jackson Control and Anita Baker's Rapture album. I never put them down. When I was about 13, I started dancing as well. So me and my friends in junior high school, we ended up performing for pep rallies. And so this one particular year, they asked us to sing for our coronation. And they gave out solos, and they were like, Trenyce can sing Whitney Houston. I believe the children are our future. That's what I sang, right? And my teachers, because I was so quiet in school, let me just say this, I was never the talkative one, but when I performed, I performed. And so people were kind of like, you mean the quiet girl? So by the time I was singing Whitney Houston, everyone in the school just called me Little Whitney. I was no longer Sean, you know, I was no longer Trenyce, I was Little Whitney Houston. And they always wanted me to sing Whitney Houston no matter what. I felt like I finally had a voice. You know, when you sing other people's music for a long period of time, when you're growing up, and then you finally get that one person where you go, I connect with this person. That's what happened to me when I was 13. I got my very first Whitney Houston album, you know, the one where her hair was slicked back. And I thought she was so beautiful. And I wore that record out. And so I just started studying Whitney Houston. And to me, that created the artist in me, you know, the showman, because I felt like I didn't have that up until then. I was just singing, I was just doing something. When I saw Whitney Houston just stand there and deliver, I was like, that's who I want to be when I grow up. My biggest struggle growing up was after I became Whitney Houston in my mind, I didn't realize that you actually have to engage the audience as well. You cannot just, I believe the children, but that's what I was doing, right? So one of my music teachers and my mom would take me to all these clubs in Memphis, and she would say, we're going to up your performance game by you performing in front of people you don't know. You've done the school thing, you know, that's great, but let's put you in front of audiences that don't know you at all. So then I became really petrified. I'm like, okay. And one of the things that the promoters would say, she's boring. She cannot perform.
Sorry, I think that both of you deserved to be in the bottom two last week. You deserve to be in the bottom two this week. It was cabaret. Didn't like it.
I don't know what she sounds great, but the audience is just, they're drinking their drinks. They're getting up and going to the bathroom. So maybe she needs to focus more on that, you know. Of course my heart was broken because I'm sitting here thinking, well, I sound good, you know, so what's it matter if I'm, you know, but I didn't understand that there's a difference between singing and performing, right? One of the very first lessons that I learned as an artist was the fact that those opinions did not mean that I wasn't good. You know, it just simply meant that the person giving me that advice wanted me to be greater than I was. So my mom would record my performances and she'd be like, you see that little part right there where you did that run, but you were looking over there, you know, or you was, my thing was looking down a bit. I would look down, and then I would look up here, and then I'd find the exit, because I really didn't want to connect, and ew, like I hated that part, you know, so I had to realize that how you get inside of the audience member's soul is by really engaging and singing those lyrics to them so they can go, I felt like that once. I remember that. I remember getting my heart broken. I remember, even if you didn't write the song, if you can engage the audience, you're great. My aspiration was actually never to become a singer. I did not think that becoming a singer was going to be something that would pay my bills, that, you know, and this was all according to my mom. She didn't want me to be hurt or struggling or being judged by the music industry or any of those things, and I understood that. You know, believe it or not, I wanted to graduate from college, become the very first microbiologist in my household, you know, make my mother proud. That was my goal. But sitting in that microbiology class, taking my final, I realized that wasn't what I was passionate about. And I'm not the type of person that wants to do anything as a career unless my heart is in it, unless I'm doing it 1,000,000%. I had to just satisfy myself and let my mom know that I saw myself in a much bigger light than just becoming a microbiologist just to satisfy her, you know. I saw myself on stage, performing. I saw myself acting, recording. And I didn't see myself in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, and I don't normally argue with my mom. She's usually right. However, this time, I didn't feel like it was the right thing for me to do. It was the toughest call I ever had to make, just to let my mom know that her baby girl was not going to go down the road that she wanted me to, but to go down a path that was a bit more unclear. And I was okay with that, and I wanted her to be okay with that.
Taking on the Celine Dion power ballad from 1994, it is Trenyce singing Power of Love.
Idol was fantastic, but before I got to Idol, I think it's very, very, very important to say that I was by no means where I should have been going up into Idol. I got really nervous because the song that I picked to sing, which was I Will Always Love You, I wasn't able to sing simply because with all of the going back and forth and the stress of it all, my voice went. So my mother was like, just sing I Learned from the Best. I was like, okay, because it was low enough, you know, for me to still be able to sing it, but I didn't have to try to hit a high note and croak and all of that. So I sang I Learned from the Best. All of the judges thought I sounded great, and I got through to the next round. And that's when I started realizing that nothing is just by chance. Everything happens for a reason. It was meant for me to go to American Idol. It was meant for me to get fired because that was my fuel for staying on the show.
Trenyce, you have the most amazing, amazing stage presence. You look beautiful tonight. You really know how to work that microphone and that stage. It's as if you've been born to do what you are doing right now on that stage.
And the one thing that I learned in all of this was to be prepared. As long as you are prepared, all of the other things that come in life, you know, all of the hiccups, it doesn't matter. You just have to be ready when the time comes. When your audition in life comes up, you just have to be ready. I have been very, 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 very blessed to still be working after 10 years of being on American Idol, and remaining relevant is difficult for anyone. It doesn't have to be just American Idol. It's just hard. That's why I know, you know, it's just a blessing to continue working, and I'm not even near where I want to be, you know, as an artist, as a, you know, as a performer. There's so many other things that I want to do. But what I can say is that the things that I've accomplished, being nominated for a Grammy, going overseas to London and being the lead in a Michael Jackson tribute show that, you know, people that his fans, I mean all of his fans, go to, and they go to regularly. It's not just like, you know, one-off like for some shows. These people are avid fans, so there's constant audience members out there pushing you because they want that MJ thing. And then there's the BET show that I did, Love in the Nick of Time, working with Morris Chestnut, and most recently, one of my biggest accomplishments is being able to do my first feature film with Jim Carrey. That to me, it's greater than great. It's better than best because it reminds me constantly that you're always in your moment. It's never over. If you constantly work hard, if you're pushing, if you're auditioning like you're supposed to be, you don't want to be one of those people that become jaded. And it's very easy to do if you're not constantly saying to yourself, oh, I haven't gotten there yet. You know, it's not about the yet part. It's about you being happy about where you are and just constantly moving. I know you can't help it, misunderstood. The road, it gets so lonely when you're trying to do what's good. 'Cause I see behind your eyes. The world has held you in her arms. If you let her go, it seems as if you will just drift into the sea. But trust me, you must believe. Everywhere you turn and everybody's looking, judging, criticize, making statements, hesitating, printing stories falsified. Understand me when I tell you truth gets buried in the lies. Babe, you better open your eyes. 'Cause everything will be alright.